Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan with Sandbox Media. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the very last upload that we do over E3 this year as far as just recaps goes. So Sony went over quite a bit of stuff. I'm going to try to go through it as quickly as possible. The very first thing they talked about was Uncharted The Lost Legacy. We saw a nice trailer of that game. It's going to be releasing August 22nd of this year. And after that, they immediately went into Horizon Zero Dawn. The first DLC for that game will be coming out. It's called The Frozen Wilds, and it's going to launch later on this year. They didn't give it a specific release date, but it will be out this year. Next up, they showed a nice 7-minute gameplay trailer of Days Gone. It reminds me a lot of The Last of Us. Has a lot of the same mechanics, but you have zombies instead of clickers and stuff like that. So it looks really interesting. At the very end, there's a gigantic bear, so you're fighting lots of different enemies. You have animals, and you have actual other humans, and then you also have obviously the zombies. So that game looks really interesting. Initially, it was supposed to release in December of this year, but I'm not sure if that's still true or not. They didn't give a release date on the actual trailer. So right after that, they announced Capcom's Monster Hunter World, which is going to release in 2018. It looks like basically you're fighting a bunch of dinosaurs. You're trying to hunt those things. So if that's your cup of tea, you'll be excited about that for sure. After that, they did a demo. There's a demo of Marvel vs. Capcom. It's going to be available, I think, right now. And that will also be releasing on September 19th of this year. Next up, we have Call of Duty World War II. We got a release date on that, which is going to be November 3rd. It was just a nice gameplay trailer. And not too much more to say about it. There wasn't any multiplayer or anything. It was just a trailer showing just single player stuff that they were doing. I will say the one thing that I noticed about the trailer is that it reminds me of World at War. You can actually blow people's body parts off and stuff in this one, which is something a lot of people have asked for over the years, just from what I remember. So that's finally back. After that, they announced 6 VR games, and I'm just going to read through them real quick. I don't think there was any release dates for any of these, but they are coming. The first one is Skyrim, and I think that's going to be the full game. They were showing multiple different things, so it was pretty much the whole game, I'm willing to bet. After that, they did a game called Star Child, which was, I'm not really going to go into too much detail about it. You guys can go watch the trailers on YouTube on various different channels. The next one was The Inpatient. It really reminded me of Outlast. I thought for sure that was going to be Outlast 2 when I first saw it, but it's not. It's called The Inpatient. Next up, Monster of the Deep. And that's I'm not sure if it's going to be its own little thing or if it's just going to be sort of an experience, but essentially it's tied to Final Fantasy 15. I'm not sure I don't want to call it DLC. It could be its own standalone product, but essentially you start out fishing and then you catch different sort of monsters. There's a gigantic snake. It was pretty crazy. Excuse me. After that, they showed this game called Bravo Team, which is a shooter. Kind of reminded me of Call of Duty a little bit, but it was VR, so like I said, no release date for that yet. Next up was this thing called Moss, and you play as a little mouse, and I'm not really sure exactly what that game's going to be like. It was pretty short trailer, but you were playing as a mouse, and you were had a little sword and stuff. So that was the very last PSVR game that they announced. After that, we got God of War, and they're given a release window of early 2018. So that game looked really, really interesting. You can play as the main character or the son. So that will be interesting for sure. I think the story is going to be around sort of teaching your son how to grow up and take care of himself. That's what I gathered from the trailer. After that, we saw another tidbit from Detroit Become Human. There's not a release date for that game either, but they did introduce a new character, and if you watch Grey's Anatomy, it's I can't remember his name. I don't watch that show, but it's the Black Doctor. I think his name's Marcus is in the game. That's his name. So after that, we got a Destiny 2 trailer. It's going to be coming out on September 6th, which is, I think, already been announced, but we just got another trailer of that. It looks really interesting to me. And finally, the best thing of the show was Spiderman. That's coming out in 2018. That game looks awesome. So if you haven't seen that trailer, I definitely recommend you check it out. A couple of notable things that weren't in there. There wasn't anything about Death Stranding, and there also wasn't anything about Last of Us 2. We didn't see anything like that. And obviously, I think you would know by now if this was shown, but a PS5, there was no such thing at the conference. Overall, it was a pretty good conference. It sort of followed the same format as last year. But overall, it was a good conference in my opinion. I'm really excited to play most of these games. I think there's only 2 that I'm probably not going to pick up when they come out. But definitely be sure to subscribe if you're interested in hearing what our opinions are about this. Me and Mike and Evan are going to be talking about this all next week once we have some more time to sort of digest everything and sort of research it a little bit more. So guys, take care. Hope you had a great day and enjoy the rest of E3 and enjoy the rest of the week. Take care.